When building settlements in Fallout 4, I used the 6 glitches and exploits in this video to build my dream settlements, and make sure that you stay tuned for the last 2 as they are the most useful and the most powerful. Hi, I'm Mo and I'm trapped in Fallout. The first glitch we will look at is exceeding or going beyond the threshold of your build settlement limit. So if you have a look at the top right hand corner, that size bar is indicating how much more I can build, and based on the bar limit, it is basically saying to me that I can't really build anymore. Now I have room just about to build one more thing. So if I try and build this machine turret, notice on the top left hand corner it says nothing more can be built, and that is because I have hit the max threshold of building in this settlement. Now there is a glitch you can use, or rather a exploit that you can use to reduce that limit, and the way to do that is to go into your settlement workshop and to take out weapons that are rather big in size, such as Fat Man's. So I just take out say 5 of these, and I'll take out maybe all 4 of these, and so on. Next, what you want to do is drop them on the floor. Now again, I'm just going to drop the 5 Fat Man, and I'm going to drop these 2 also, and as a result I now have these on the floor. Now what you want to do is go back into your settlement mode, and this is important. Make sure you highlight a weapon and you store the weapon. So don't scrap them, store them. In other words, you don't want to do this where you're scrapping the weapon. What you want to do is store the weapon. And as you begin to store large weapons, your settlement build limit will go back down. So if you notice on the top right hand corner, as I am storing these weapons, the build limit is ever so slowly going back down. So now that I've stored probably 4 or 5 of these weapons, I do have another one right over here. So let's store this. I can go back into my mission turrets, and now I can place a few more before I hit that build limit again. So I'm just going to try and place a few more, trying to hit that build limit again. And with that, I've now hit the build limit again. So by storing weapons when you have hit the max build limit, you get a little bit room back to build some more stuff. Now this does come with a rather large warning. If you do this, make sure you don't do it more than once, or at the very most twice, from a empty size build limit bar. The whole reason this build limit was put in place was to help make sure that your settlements perform in a performance point of view. So if you build too much more than your settlement can handle, then you will start to see frame rate loss issues, or probably more likely to see crashes also. So if you sort of exceed this build limit a few too many times and you enter a settlement, there's a good chance it will crash again. So do use this limit, but don't use it too many times. At most, I would say use it no more than twice. The second glitch we're going to look at is known as the rug glitch, and this glitch effectively will allow you to turn off collision of things. So let me show you what I mean. So what I will do is I will try and build something in this window. This is purely for my own purposes. This isn't a thing that maybe one would do. This is just to sort of demonstrate this idea. So what I will do is I will try and build a Vault Girl statue, and typically what would happen is this object that I have right now has collision on it. Now if you're not entirely sure what collision is, it is the physical act of 2 things basically colliding with each other and not being able to, let's just say, go into each other. So if I try and place this statue here and then I go a bit too close to the wall, then I cannot place it there because these 2 things are basically going into each other. However, I can sort of place it indoor like that. What I want to do is place the statue so that it's sort of in the window but sort of in the wall at the same time. But you cannot do that simply because the collision of the 2 objects is colliding. Now there is a way around it, and we can use what's known as the rug glitch. So let me just place the Vault Girl here for now, and we'll come back to her in a moment. What you can do is go into decorations and then floor coverings, and then you can start to place these mats. What we will do is place this mat over here. Now you don't have to do it this way. This is just, I'm showing it just so I can sort of explain it a little bit better. I've placed one mat. If I now place another mat, and let's place this mat over here. If I take this mat and put it on the ground here, notice that as I bring it closer over this mat, it sort of jumps up a bit like that. And that is because this mat is effectively overlapping the mat underneath it. So again, if I place it on the floor, then it's placed on the floor, but as I bring it closer to this mat, it now places on top of the other one. Now here's the thing, if I now select this mat which is on top of the other mat, then it only moves this mat. But if I select the mat that's underneath, then it selects both mats. Now here's the other thing with this glitch. Notice that if I now cancel this, and let's just take this first one, if I try to put this mat, say, inside this wall over here, then I can't do that. And that's because the collision of the two objects is colliding. But if I select the mat that's underneath, and I do the same thing, I can now actually place that second mat inside the building wall. And that is because of this exploit. In this exploit, what is effectively happening is I'm only selecting one of the two mats, but the collision of the selected mat is only taken into effect when placing this object. The collision of the second mat, i.e. the one that is not highlighted, is totally ignoring the collision of the other object. So I can do this. Now with that done, I can simply leave this there, and that would basically collide, or rather not collide, with the wall. So what we'll do is we'll place this back here, and now we'll use this with this statue over here. So if I take this statue, and again let's place it on the floor to begin with. Notice it's on the floor, but as I bring it closer to this mat that's on top, it sort of jumps up. And now if I select this mat over here, it selects the whole thing, but the collision of the second mat and in this girl, the Vault Girl statue, is not taken into account. So now I can place this in the wall like so. Now, how do you actually leave this item here whilst removing these two mats? Well, the way to do it is you take your second mat and you either scrap it or store it. So I'll store it. And then you can take this mat, move it away, and your item still remains in place. So this is, although this is called a mat, this is actually referred to as the rug glitch. This glitch will allow you to effectively turn off collisions between objects. Now, there is one thing to note. This only works with objects that do not automatically snap to things. So the Vault Girl, it doesn't actually snap to anything. So if I sort of take this Vault Girl and I place it next to a wall or anything like that, it does not snap. However, if I try to do this glitch with something like a wall, that will not work because a wall actually snaps. So this glitch only really works with objects that do not automatically snap to objects. However, we can use another glitch where this works with snapping objects, and let's look at that now. So here I have a certain foundation that I've built. I've basically built a floor, and what I want to do is take this floor and actually put it inside this house over here. If you notice, if we go inside this house, the flooring is sort of covered with a lot of debris that I cannot remove. You can't scrap everything, so this doesn't look very clean. And if I just look up, it's also got holes in the wall, so I may also want to make a roof for this as well. So if I now go back to this floor, there is a method of selection we can use, which is effectively called the select all group. If I go into settlement mode, and if I select this one object, then it selects this one object and so on. If you highlight this object and you hold down the select button, so in my case, holding down the A button, it actually selects everything. So sadly, this isn't a very well explained or known mechanics when it comes to building settlements, but you can do this. So now what I can do is I can take this entire thing and I can try my best to place this floor inside this house. But notice I can't do that. I can't do that because some wall or some floor is colliding with some wall somewhere, and it's making it almost impossible. Now this is probably doable. You might have to sort of really frustrate yourself, but it probably is doable. But as you can see, it's nigh on possible. It is effectively very difficult to do this. What you can do is similar to the rug glitch, we can use another method that works with objects that snap to each other to also avoid collision. And you can do this using a post or a pillar. Now, a post or pillar is actually found inside structures, warehouse, and then you go into miscellaneous, and then you can build this thing, a post. Now, the good thing about a post is you can manipulate its height. Unlike where we used the rug glitch in the previous one, where you can't really manipulate the height, i.e. make things go up or down, here you can do that. And the way you do that is this. You place the post and you don't place it on top of your objects, but you place it close enough to it. And as you do that, if you now try and use the select all command on the post and not on the floor, so let's try and select everything. Notice it's selected everything. Now here's the beauty of this post glitch. Although it has selected everything, the collision only applies to the post and not the floor. So I can now do this. I can sort of go close enough and notice that if I put the post in the wall, then I can't place the floor. But if I put the post on this flooring here, I can place the floor. And that's because the collision is only happening on the pillar and not the floor. So I can try my best to place the floor, and I think this is probably good enough right here. And then I can simply select this and move it away. And now if I go back in, now my flooring looks a little bit better. I can still see some debris. So what we can do is take this, put it back over here, and then use the select all again, and then just move it a little bit up, take this back out. And with this, if I now go back in, I can see my floor looks a lot more nicer. Now let's try and do the same thing with the roof. So again, I will take my pillar, and here is a flooring that I've sort of made earlier. And again, I'll put it close enough to not be on the floor itself, but close enough. And again, I'll use the select all. So I selected everything. And now, remember I said you can manipulate the height? Well, this time I can try and put it up over here instead. And let's get it just so it sort of acts as a roof. So I want to put it a bit further down. So this isn't really working. So what I'll do is I'll put it back here, and this time I will take the post and I will move it down instead. And again, I'll use the select all. And now I should be able to move or have a little bit more control over the roof. So let's try and place it just so I can make the roof look a little bit more nicer. So this is still not working the way I would want it to work. So again, let's manipulate this just a tad bit more. Let's see if I can get it aligned just right. Now again, this will obviously take time. The more time you spend, the nicer it will basically look. And let's try this one more time. And I think the roof is looking a lot better now. It's a little bit better aligned. So I'll put it right here, remove the pillar. And now if I go in, I now have a rather nice roof where the holes aren't as apparent anymore, and the floor looks pretty nice as well. So you can use this pillar glitch or this post glitch to effectively group select objects that snap to each other and place them anywhere you want, effectively avoiding collisions of objects. With the roof and the floor now placed, again, let's have another quick look. There is one downside to this. You actually cannot use the height advantages of a pillar on a floor that you have placed. So let me show you what I mean. If I place the pillar here, notice that I can manipulate the height. I can make it go up, down, so on. If I build a floor, so let's just build this floor over here, and let's try and place this pillar on the floor, and now let's try and sort of manipulate the height. Notice I cannot do that, and the reason I cannot do that is because I built this floor. So any floor items that you build or any floor objects that you build, you cannot use the pillar's height to your advantage. However, you can use this fourth glitch to bypass this. What you can do is, let's say we want to place again another vault girl. So we'll go quickly into decorations, into statues, and let's place a vault girl right over here. And again, just to sort of demonstrate it, again, we'll use the group all. Notice I cannot place the vault girl down. Just for the sake of argument, let's say I wanted to place it down sort of up to her waist for whatever reason. I can't do that because I cannot manipulate the height of the pillar. What I can do instead is place a campfire on this flooring that I have built. For campfire, what you want to do is go into decorations and then go into miscellaneous, and then in here you will find a campfire. What a campfire does is when it is placed, any area around the immediate object of the campfire is sort of not recognized as a flooring you've placed. It is more akin to this type of flooring here. So if we now take this post again, and again notice, so let me try and get a better angle on this. I can manipulate the height here. I cannot manipulate the height here because this is a flooring, but if I take it close to the campfire, I can now manipulate the height again. So you can use campfires inside your homes to use the pillar to manipulate the height of objects and sort of again turn off the collision. So if I now move the pillar and I move the campfire, this will still continue to stay. So this is our fourth exploit, or rather almost an extension of the third exploit, where you can use campfires to still bypass collision between objects that you have built. Now let's take a look at the fifth glitch, which is what I consider to be one of the best settlement building glitches available to date. Probably except the sixth one, but we'll look at the sixth one in a moment. So this glitch that I'm about to show you will allow you to build electricity throughout your entire settlement without having to build wires that sort of extend and are visible to you between your houses. So let me show you what I mean. What we will do to begin with is build a small power generator, and then what we will do is build a power pylon, And next we are going to build a power conduit and we're going to place it on the floor. Now before I go into this, the height is actually pretty important to getting this glitch to work. You need to have something that is at a higher height that has a conduit with something that has a lower height and a conduit. So this conduit is further up than this one. What you want to do is connect these two conduit up with a standard power cable. So just connect these two up. And now what you want to do is you want to connect this conduit to this power generator, and we'll follow some very specific steps, and as a result we will have power going between this power generator and this conduit wirelessly. So before I show you exactly how to do that, let's take note of one single important factor. If I highlight this power pylon, notice I have the option to attach a wire. So it's that Y button on the bottom of the screen. If I now slowly navigate where the power pylon is still in the focus of my cursor, so my cursor is highlighting the power pylon, but if I go to this state here where the power cable is highlighted, but at the same time the power pylon is appearing underneath my mouse cursor, I can still attach a power cable to it. And this is very tricky, so you have to take stock of the audio cue. If I now press the attach wire button, you should hear the audio that you usually hear when you attach a power cable. So I've just attached the power cable to this pylon whilst the power cable here is highlighted. Now, although it's not visible, there is actually an invisible cable coming from this power pylon to my mouse cursor. If I now go to the power generator and I have the power generator highlighted, but I have it highlighted behind a power cable, the same cable that I used when I attached the power to this pylon, then what will happen is it will take the cable from here and jump it and attach it to here. So right now I have the power generator highlighted in the background, but because of the placement of my mouse cursor, the power cable is being highlighted instead. If I now press the attach power button, notice that this power cable, which was originally between this conduit and this conduit on the floor, has now jumped between this and this one. Now, if I simply move this one on the floor, so again, notice that the cable is attached between the pylon and the power generator. If I move this conduit on the floor, the cable jumps back. And now, if I highlight this cable and store it, although you may not look it, this power generator is actually wirelessly connected to this power pylon. So how can I prove it? Well, what we can do is just have some random thing that needs power. So this spotlight needs power. What I will do is attach this spotlight to this power pylon, and because these two are wirelessly connected, this should get power. So let's do that. And just like that, this actually is now powered through this power generator. Although visibly you cannot see it, these two things are connected. Now, why do I think this is actually a pretty awesome glitch? Well, let's take this a step further. What I will do is store this spotlight. I don't really want it. And I'll get rid of this power pylon. I just put it there. What I will do is, let's say we'll build a wall, and I'll put the wall over here. And on this wall, I will attach another power conduit that is compatible with wall. So I'll put one right here. And again, I'll repeat the steps. So I'll attach this power conduit that is higher up in height to this one on the floor. I will then highlight the power conduit, but the power conduit itself will not be highlighted. The power cable will be, and I will press the attach power button. Now I will highlight the power generator, but again, the generator will not be highlighted. The power cable instead will be. And as a result, the power cable has jumped. What I will do is slightly move this, causing the power cable to reappear. I will now store this. I know that this power generator is wirelessly connected to its power conduit. What I can do now is take this power conduit and I can go and put it in this house over here. So let's just put it right over there. And now what I will do is, again, just to prove that there's power here, I can put a spotlight here and notice there's no power. I will now attach this to this power conduit. And just like that, I now have electricity in this house, where the electricity is traveling into this house through this power conduit, which is wirelessly connected to that power generator right over there. So let me do this one more time, just to sort of show you another side to this. So again, I will do exactly the same thing. I will attach a power conduit to this wall. I will attach this with a power cable to this over here. And then I'll repeat the same step. So again, I'll attach an invisible power line from here to the power generator. I will then move this ever so slightly, store this power cable, And this time I'll move this conduit, not to that house, but I'll move it to this house over here. And let's just place it over here. And again, I'll put up another spotlight and let's just put it here and let's attach this one. And notice this is powered also, but there's a problem. This needs a power of 2 and the other light also needs a power of 2, but the other light has powered down. And the reason it's powered down is because I don't actually have enough power. I've only got a single power generator that generates 3 power. Well, again, this is the beauty of this wirelessness. What I can do is, let's just move this power generator into this building, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, I'm going to convert this building into some sort of power room. I'm going to move this conduit next to that power generator because I'm going to use this as a reference for any future conduits. So I'll just put this right over here. And what I will do is create, or rather craft, another power generator. So let's create one. In fact, let's create maybe a few more, and I'm going to connect them all up. And now I'm going to connect this one up to this one, which is the source power generator. And notice if I now go back to the 2 spotlights, so a bit of a mad dash, but you can probably tell from here, this one now has power again. And if I look at the other one in the other house, this one should also have power. So you can use this glitch to effectively distribute power throughout your entire settlement whilst having all your power effectively stored in one place, and you can effectively reduce the amount of wires you have between your settlements. So this is the 5th glitch in this video, and I personally think is one of the best and powerful ones that you can use in your settlement. But there is another one which I think probably exceeds this one by a tad bit, and let's look at it. The 6th glitch. The 6th glitch is known as the resource duplication glitch, and it is so powerful it will effectively allow you to not really have to worry about resources or the amount of resources you have in your settlement. So what is this? Now this has probably been covered a lot, but it is vital to building any settlement if you are happy to build settlement using glitches and exploits. What you want to do is go into your workshop, and just to make it easy, I'm going to make sure I only have one resource. What I will do is take out something like the adhesive. If I now go into my inventory, I should only have just the one adhesive. You don't have to have just the one thing. This is just so I can make the demonstration a little bit more easier. We're going to drop all of it. And as a result, I now have 19 adhesive on the floor. What I will do using this last glitch is duplicate the amount of adhesive I have. The way to do this is you go back into settlement mode. And now this is tricky. What you want to do is press the scrap button, but before the scrap menu appears, you want to press and hold down the store button. So to the naked eye, it will look like you're actually pressing both buttons at almost exactly the same time, but in reality you aren't. You're going to press the scrap button and then you're going to press and hold down the store button. And if you do it quick enough, you should see something like this. So right here, I have actually pressed the scrap button and I'm holding down the store button. And as a result, the scrap menu should be visible on top of the store menu. So I can't show you this, but right now on my control pad, I'm actually still holding down the store button and I'm not holding the scrap button. Now, if you see this menu, you should press the A button. At this point, I am still holding down the store button, and then go ahead and press the A button again to store your object. And now I've let go of the scrap button. If you go back into your workshop, you should have doubled that resource. So in my case, I've doubled 19 to 38. I had 19 adhesive to start with. I've now got 38. So let's take this out again and let's do this one more time. Now I'm going to go into my junk menu and drop these 38 items. And notice that this time I have actually dropped 2 stacks. Now, I've had a few people ask me, why does this happen? The reason this happens is when you actually duplicate items, the game basically keeps track of the items as a stack of when you collected them. So because I duplicated them and they went into the workshop, one half went into the workshop as scrapped items and the other half went into the workshop as stored items. And that is why there's 2. So if I collect these 2, now that I've collected them, if I now drop them, they will now drop as a single stack. So if you ever get items where when you drop them, you get multiple stacks, just pick them back up and drop them again and they should drop as a single stack. So with that covered, let's try and duplicate this again. Again, I'm going to hover over the item and I'm going to press the scrap button, and then before the scrap menu appears, I'm going to press and hold down the store button. Again, it will look like you are actually pressing both buttons at the same time, but in reality what you're doing is you're pressing the store button followed by again pressing the scrap button, and you're doing this within like a nanosecond of each other. I know it's not humanly possible to do that, but for a better phrase of term, that's what you're doing. You're pressing both buttons about a millisecond apart from each other, and you're holding down the store button. So again, if you do it right, you should see this menu. Again, I am still holding down the store button, so I'm going to press the scrap button. I am still holding down the store button. I'm going to press the A button on my keyboard to accept this store. And now I've let go of the scrap button. And now if I go back into my workshop, I should have doubled my adhesives again from 38 to 76. Now, one last thing with this glitch. When you use this method, try not to have more than about 2,000 or 3,000 of any given resource. When you start to have too many resources in your workstation, the game will actually start to remove some of these resources for performance reasons. If you have too many things in your workshop, then you may start to see some performance issues. So the game tries to be a little bit smart and clever about it, and will start to remove some things. So don't spend too much time doing this. If you do, try not to exceed more than about 2,000 items of any given resource. In this Fallout 4 glitches guide for building settlements, I showed you 6 glitches that will help you to bypass the build limit, turn off collisions between objects, build wireless power, and get an unlimited amount of resources. However, I did not cover the actual ins and outs of building and managing a settlement. I did not show you anything about settlers, anything about bed, food, water, etc. But if you click on the video you see on the screen now, then I will show you everything you need to know to manage your own settlements. Click on the video you see on the screen now to find out more.